Hello. So it is Saturday, August 7th. I mean, it's time for another weekly wrap up. I got a lot of books here, which is good considering, this bad boy. But it's because I decided that I did want to try and reach that 100 book summer goal. But I was only halfway there, so I picked out like 50 small books and manga volumes so that I could hit it. So we've got a lot of books here. So this will probably go kind of fast. I don't know how much I'm going to spend talking about each one, especially since we've got like a bunch of volumes of Bleach, and so I don't know if I need to go all that far into my feelings on Bleach every single time, but let's just get going. First up, I read More Tales That Give You Goosebumps by R.L. Stine, 10 Spooky Stories. This is actually not one of my favorites. I remember I had a different volume of like spooky short stories by R.L. Stine when I was a kid. That one was really fun, had a lot of really fun stories in it, but all these were kind of lame. They were all very summery, but none of them were very good. I mean, they're children's ghost stories, but even the Blogger Beware coverage of this one was kind of lacking, so I ended up giving this one 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read a volume of a manga series that I was into in high school. I watched the anime in high school, and this volume has been sitting in the book wall for long enough that the pages are yellowed, and that is Noragami. This is volume 7. This is about a god who is a very, very minor god. He doesn't even have a shrine, doesn't have any believers, and he ends up meeting this girl, and she like remembers him, and that's a big thing, and it's comedic, but it's also incredibly sad. This little motherfucker right here in the anime, he made me bawl my fucking eyes out. But yeah, this just continues on that story. It's a really good series. I really, really enjoy it. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I did order volume 8. So I guess I'm continuing Noragami now. Then I read Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Brosh. I don't know what's going on with this. I got this secondhand, but I think somebody's trying to trick somebody. They got like a Nazi book or something. I don't know. But this is Allie Brosh. She had this blog, Hyperbole and a Half, and it is literally the funniest thing in the world. Like, I remember I would read it and just like not stop laughing. It is so funny. And so she came out with this book. She got this book out. She has a second one out now too that I will probably pick up at some point. And it's got a bunch of the stuff from the blog that I recognize from the blog that's still hilarious, but also some stuff that wasn't on the blog. So that's super exciting and cool. It's really, really funny. I think this made a bigger of a splash when it first came out in like, what was it, like 2017? That's my guess. Oh my god, 2013. But yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's hilarious. Pick it up. Then I read another volume of manga. Well, so this is manga. That is Her Majesty's Dog by Mick, Takeuchi. This one actually really surprised me. So this is volume 1. Good. But this is just one that I got in a lot of manga off of eBay, and I wasn't really expecting much from it. It's about this girl who, she can like see ghosts and stuff like that, and she is a special kind of person, and she's got this weird little motherfucker who is in her class, and people always think that they're dating, but he's actually like a demon dog, and it's really, really interesting. I really like the characters. The art style isn't bad. It's an older one. I think it's from the early 2000s, but you can kind of tell from the art style on the cover, but it was actually surprisingly good, and we're giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and I think I'm going to try and continue on with the series, because it was actually surprisingly good. Then I read The New Well-Tempered Sentence by Karen Elizabeth Gordon. This is just a punctuation handbook for the innocent, the eager, and the doomed. It's just like a writing grammar book. It's charming, but I think it's written in a way that's kind of confusing sometimes. Like, I'm a whole ass English teacher, and there were some times where it was like, I had no idea what it was trying to say. But I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it was charming, but not much else to say about it. Then I read an Animorphs book that is The Forgotten by K.A. Applegate. This is a Jake book. Animorphs is a series. It's a children's book series from like the 90s about a group of kids who have the power to morph into animals, characterized by these lovely, lovely covers that everybody loves to meme on. But this one follows Jake, and he keeps having these weird flashes to like the jungle, and there's a whole thing going on. This one was okay. Jake is not my favorite. He's not my least favorite. He's no Cassie, but he's not my favorite. And it was okay. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I've been collecting and rereading these the same way that I've been collecting and rereading Goosebumps, but so that's why I've got it. But yeah. Then I finished one that was not a one of the ones that I read really fast for getting books done, and that is The Humanist in the Bathtub by Mary McCarthy. This is a book full of like literary essays. This woman, she was a writer and a critic in I believe like the 40s, 50s, 60s, and that's when like all the essays are from. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Maybe a little bit earlier, maybe like 30s, 40s, 50s-ish time. Especially the last two in the book are like talking about novels, like what constitutes a novel, and then the last one is talking about characters and stuff like that. And that was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. There were some things in here, some like plays she was talking about that made me want to like add the play to like my thrift books wish list. She was a very good writer. I really enjoyed it. I bought this like on a whim from like a used bookstore a long time ago, and it took me a long time to get to it, but yeah, I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a good time. Then, ooh man, we're back to the manga. We got Danganronpa, A School of Hope with Students of Despair, the animation, volume 2. This is the manga adaptation of the first game, and again, like I thought with the first volume, this one is just rushing so hard. Like this one, we get the second motive, we speed through all the development with Ishimaru and Mondo, all that stuff. We get the murder, boom. We speed through, we get the execution, boom. We speed through the next motive, we get the next murder. Like, it is just like we go through the whole cat and mouse chase of the third murder in like 3 pages, and it is so fucking rushed. Like, I love these characters, particularly this motherfucker right there, but it just rushes so much. Like, and I like, it's not, I think this one was marginally better. Was it better than the first one? I don't know. But I gave it 4 out of 5 stars just because of the characters and the story so much. But this one just like, especially after reading the first 2 volumes of the adaptation for the second game, it's like, wow, they really did the first game dirty with this. Then I read Dramacon Volume 1 by Svetlana Chmakova. This is about a girl who, she's going to her first convention with her boyfriend, and they are like drawing and writing like a graphic novel manga story together, and her boyfriend is a real piece of shit, and she meets this other guy who only has one eye, and this whole thing, it was cute. It was really cute, and I did enjoy it. I don't know, I think there are only 3 volumes. I think I have all 3, so I will be reading the rest of the series, but yeah, it was okay. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was cute. Yeah. Then I read another Goosebumps book that is Revenge R Us. This is one of the Series 2000 books. It's about a girl whose older brother is like a psychopath, and he's literally like insane. But she wants to take revenge on him, and it's very convoluted and weird. But it was again, it's a Series 2000 book, so it's got a weird feel to it. Kind of harsher, but in like a less fun way. I don't know. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was fine. Then we get started on the Bleach. I read like 6 volumes of Bleach this past week. We got volume 21. I'm gonna do my Bleach explanation right now. Just so we can get out of the way. Bleach it was like my first anime manga when I was like in 8th grade, and it follows this kid who has always been able to see ghosts. He can see ghosts, but one day something attacks him and his family, and then a Soul Reaper shows up, and he ends up getting Soul Reaper powers, and it just sets off this whole chain of events. This is volume 21, so we're pretty far in the story now. We're getting to the start of like the Arankar arc, I think. Unless you want to call it like a mini Visored arc, but I like this volume. This is like the Visored Arankar arc is like my favorite arc, and most of what I read was from this arc. I didn't read them in order, of course, but I mean, I'm already very familiar with the story up to, I think, Karakura Town. So, and also I've read some of the Quincy stuff later on, but yeah, it's a good story. Like I said, it was my first. Once you get into like at least volume 20, the art does get a lot better than it was at the beginning. I got a volume 3 in here too, so I can show you that. But yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a good time. Then I read Peacemaker Kurogane Volume 3 by Nane Chrono. This is one that really would have benefited from me like reading it in order, but I didn't. It follows it's like a samurai thing, and I did get into it near the end. It's kind of a historical fiction situation. There's this one character who I really liked. I don't know his name, but he was like he had tuberculosis and he was pretty. Reminded me of Yumachika from Bleach. But yeah, I think this was an anime first too. Like there was an anime and then the manga is like a sequel situation. So I think everybody's confused in reading these, but it was okay. The art is pretty interesting. Gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read Christopher Pike, The Last Vampire 4 Phantom. This is another one where I'm reading it out of order. I do that sometimes. I mean, especially for like little series that don't seem to matter, I'll read them out of order. But yeah, this one was pretty easy to jump into. It follows this girl who she was a vampire, but now she's a human and now she's pregnant, and it does give me Twilight vibes, I'm not gonna lie. But it was good. It was dark. It's Christopher Pike. It does have a lot of that Christopher Pike mystical Indian mythology situation that a lot of his books seem to have. It was okay. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a good one, especially for Christopher Pike. Then I read another one that's been sitting in the book wall for a long enough to have these yellow pages. It's A Silent Voice, Volume 6. I just watched the movie last night too, because they made a movie based off of the series. There's 7 volumes. I have the 7th volume coming. But basically this series is about this when this kid is when he's little, when he's younger, when he's in like 6th grade, a deaf girl comes into his class and he starts bullying her. And he's ruthless, and eventually people start catching on because like her hearing aids are going missing, and like she's lost like 8 hearing aids in 5 months, and the entire class was participating, but the entire class turns on him and say like, no, it was him, and then they start bullying him, and he gets major self-esteem issues from this. And it is a very sad like tragic series. Watching the movie, I realized that the main girl, the deaf girl, really doesn't have much of a personality or development at all. It is not very many characters do. It's really just the main character who does. He's got a lot, but everybody else is really kind of getting little crumbs here and there. I think Naoka has some, but maybe it's just because she was awful to start with, so even a little bit of development looks like a lot. But it's a really good series. It's really beautiful. It's very nicely drawn. It's a good series, a sad series. Like I said, it's only 7 volumes too. Got more Bleach. We got volume 23, and this one has the Ikaku Edorad fight, which is like my favorite. Like I used to have the episode of the anime that this manga is based off of on my iPod Touch because it was like my favorite. It deals with Ikaku and Yumachika, and they're my favorites. But yeah, again with the Bleach, I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's a good time. Then I read One Punch Man Volume 7. One Punch Man is, it follows this kid who, this guy who's like in this world where there's a bunch of superheroes, and he just like does like a very basic training regimen, and he becomes just incredibly strong. Like he can do anything. He punches it, it's just like, it's done, we're done. This volume was not my favorite. They're normally really funny, and this one did have some of those moments too, but most of the funny moments come from the main character just being completely just deadpan, and this one had less of that, but it was still pretty funny. It's still a good series. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read a book at work. I work in a library part-time. Mostly I'm an English teacher, but also I work in a library part-time, and sometimes it gets slow and I get bored and I pick up a book off the new nonfiction shelf, and so I read Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. This woman, she wrote a couple other books. I read them both. I really enjoyed them, but they're like humorous, nonfiction, mental health stuff. She's very funny. I enjoy her quite a bit. She, like I said, like she's hilarious. Like giggling to myself at the front desk while nobody's in the library because it's 7:30 p.m. and nobody's there at 7:30 p.m. I gave it, I believe, 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know. For my own books, I write it in the front so I don't forget, but I can't do that with the library book. But it's a good one. Then I finished another one that was not one. Oh, my foot's falling asleep. Another one that was not one that I read super fast, even though it's pretty small, and that is Not Quite Dead Enough by Rex Stout. This is a Nero Wolfe book. This is a couple of like spy mystery novel. They're from like the early 40s, I want to say. They were interesting, very quick reads. I liked the voice of the main character. He was really interesting and fun. I liked the dialogue. They were well written. It was fine. You know, like I don't think I'm ever gonna. I think I have one other copy of these actually. I got this for free. I think I have another one somewhere, but I'm not gonna go and seek out more. It was okay. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And then we got 3 more volumes of Bleach. We've got volume 22, volume 37, which is my favorite. This features Yumachika and Charlotte's fight, and it is just a lot. And then volume 3, and you can even see from the cover how the art style has improved from the first early volumes. But again, I like Bleach. This was my first. This one I gave 4.4 out of 5 stars. This one, I'm saying I'd better give it a 5 out of 5 just for Yumachika versus Charlotte. Like, we love to see it. And this one, I believe, probably got 4 out of 5 too. Yes, this one got 4 out of 5 too. So those are the books for the past week. I'm currently reading The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, which I'm only like 30 pages in, but I've heard so many good things about this one, and I'm just like excited and kind of nervous about it. But let's see if we can get these all in one situation here. Oh boy. Oh god. 3 to go. So yeah, these are the books I read this past week. That is all every day. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.